did not see Undercover's FBI Lovebirds, you have to go and watch it. It was so incredible. And I got to sit down with the cast at one point. Dean Cain, Christy Swanson. I actually saw a live performance of it. They literally acted out the text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. And Fela McAleer put it all together into this brilliant film. Now he's back with the new film, My Son Hunter, which was made available to the general public on September 7th. If you haven't seen it yet, take a look at this trailer.
Good boy.
Presented by Breitbart. Joining me on the program is filmmaker Fela McAleer. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
All right. I just got to ask, whose idea was this movie? Who did the writing? And how did you do the casting?
It was my idea, my wife's idea, Anne McElhinney, and Magdalena Segeda. We are the Unreported Story Society. We're a 501c3, I suppose. But I mean, it's not a great idea. Like, it's a very obvious idea as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't think it's a genius idea. Like, this is sex, drugs, rock and roll, Washington politics, China, Ukraine, Russia, hookers, strippers, drugs. I mean, it writes itself almost, you know. It's got media, it's got suppression, it's got cover-ups. I mean, look, this should be a Hollywood movie. This should be a $50 million budget movie. If Hollywood and the media and big tech did their job, I'd be out of work. But they're not taking truth to power anymore. They're a bunch of gutless cowards who won't do their job anymore. So as you can hear from my accent, I'm not from America. So this is an example of Americans, immigrants doing jobs Americans just won't do anymore.
Well, if the movie was called My Son Don Jr., of course they would have made that movie. They'd have been making it Lifetime. I mean, we know that.
Yeah. No, listen, this is it. Showtime did a 3-part miniseries on the Russia collusion hoax. You know, and a thing that was proven to be a hoax, and they spent tens of millions on that, tens of millions marketing it. And this is a true story. This is heavily based on Hunter Biden's own emails, his own videos, his own memoir. You know, look, we're partnering with Breitbart to get it out. It's been distributed through Breitbart, mysonhunter.com. And the leftist media have devoted tens of thousands of words to telling people they should not watch this movie. So you know what that means.
I just got to ask about the casting, because I remember when Atlas Shrugged came out, and in part 3, I have a cameo as a newscaster. Thank you very much. I am now an actor. But you saw some of the people in that, like Taylor Schilling, kind of, you know, distance herself from it because, you know, you want to be part of those icky conservatives. I mean, Christy Swanson and Dean Cain are Christy Swanson and Dean Cain. They're very satisfied with their careers. Hollywood can't really cancel them. And you see this with John Voight and Kelsey Grammer and others, that once they're kind of like beyond the point of being canceled, they kind of can come out. But if you're a young actor in Hollywood and you attach yourself to anything conservative, there are people that will destroy you.
Yeah, no, listen, there are several people associated with this movie whose names are not in the credits. Very significant people, or they're in the credits under a false name. You know, significant people. I mean, if you IMDb some of those people who are in the initial credits, you won't find their history. And 2 of the main people who made this movie happen have asked not to be named because they fear being cancelled. So it's a very, very real threat. This is the censorious atmosphere of Hollywood now. It's a closed mind. You know, they're all around. You've got these bunch of finite minds around Hollywood's infinity pools, and it's not pretty.
So tell me where the story starts. Do we start with Hunter as a child? Do we start as he starts to experiment with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Where does the plot of the movie start?
Well, it's basically, you know, it's kind of over one night. He meets a stripper, and Hunter does this. He falls in love, and then he's in a confessional mode. And then we have flashbacks to his dodgy dealings in China, his dodgy dealings in Ukraine, his dodgy dealings with the mayor of Moscow's wife, his dodgy dealings to all these different people. So it's flashbacks. So it's over the course of a night. It's Hunter trying to redeem himself. There's a great, the core of the movie is Gina Carano's in it, who's brilliant. Plays a Secret Service agent. But there's this core where him and Joe Biden are fighting in the back of a car, verbally jousting. He loves his father. He can never please his father. John James is fantastic, I think, as Joe Biden. It's funny, it's witty, it's sad, it's poignant. It'll make you happy. It'll make you angry. And it'll make you perplexed, and it'll make you angry. Don't forget, the mainstream media covered this up. Big tech covered this up. This is why we're getting this story out there to people.
In doing the research, do you get the sense that Beau Biden was the favorite son?
Oh, listen, without a doubt, and that really comes across. And, you know, the leftists, they hate this movie, or they don't hate this movie. They want you to hate this movie. But they're all really perplexed that we made Hunter Biden a human being, right? And I'm going like, you know, and they almost think it's an accident, or they think maybe Lawrence Fox made him human by brilliant acting. And I'm going like, why on earth wouldn't we make him a human being? Like, he's had a tremendously tragic life. I mean, he's, losing his mother and his sister in a car accident, losing his brother, the golden boy, so he's had this tragic life. But also, if you make someone a human being, it's very, very easy to see how they can be corrupted. If you make someone a stock villain, then who cares if they're corrupt, because they're already an evil, mustache-twirling kind of person, cardboard cutout. So we made him an actual live human being. And Joe's a live human being. You understand why they do what they do. You might not like it, but it needs to be called out. It needs to be shown, and it needs to be transparent. And that's why we made My Son Hunter.
You said it's not a brilliant idea, but I think it is, in the sense, because it's the same thing with Lovebirds. You took all this material and said, I don't have to add anything to it. Here it is. Those videos on the laptop, the emails, it's all there. You guys didn't have to go sensationalize or exaggerate Hunter Biden's behavior. We know he knocked up a stripper. We know he was sleeping with his dead brother's wife. We know that in some fueled rage, his dead brother's wife, his girlfriend, took his gun out of the house and threw it in a garbage can because something was going on with his behavior. This is all documented. You guys didn't have to sensationalize this. It's already sensational.
Exactly. And we know that he kept 10% of all his deals for the big guy. We know this, and the big guy is Joe Biden. And we know he did these dodgy deals with all these Chinese companies. And we know he was on the board of Burisma, a Ukrainian oil and gas company with links to Russia. And he was getting $86,000 a month for 5 years, millions of dollars. We know all this. So when you put all that in a movie, like, you don't really have to add much drama, as you say.
Yeah, and, like I said at the beginning of this, and I'm sure they're already working on it. I'm sure Rob Reiner's already working on his Donald Trump movie, right? But they're going to have to go on Maggie Haberman's book or something, unlike this, where it's literally in the laptop.